guys, what's up? I'm Erin and welcome back to the channel. America has the most number of millionaires of every country out there. It's about 9% of the current US population that has a 7-figure net worth. So it still puts you in a pretty prestigious category. And often there's this impression with millionaires is that they're simply inheriting their wealth from relatives. But study after study proves that that is not the case. According to Fidelity, 88% of all millionaires are self-made. So that means they are saving up that 7-figure net worth on their own. Which begs the question, if they're able to do it, how do they do it? Because if they can do it, so can you. So what if you're like the vast majority of us and you weren't born a Rockefeller or a Vanderbilt? Well, that means you're going to have to put in the work because the millionaires I talk about here, they're not some get-rich-quick type, the type that you see flooding your social media pages. Quick tip, that's all a scam. They're not as wealthy as they're pretending to be. Okay, back to the most pressing question. How are these millionaires accumulating their wealth? I always think it's a really good idea to look at successful people and see what they're doing. There's an old saying, it's success leaves clues. Look what successful people are doing and emulate them. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. If they have a system that works, go ahead and follow that system. Well, according to Thomas Corley, who is a CFP and author of the book Rich Habits, there are 4 primary ways to become a millionaire. The route you hear me talk about most on this channel is the saver investor path. Now, this group accounts for 22% of all millionaires, and they are certainly a disciplined bunch. Most will reach millionaire status in their 50s. However, some are even able to reach it as young as their 30s. Now, the reason I talk so much about this path to wealth is that really I see this as the most accessible path to the vast majority of people, meaning no matter what your job, you can save up a 7-figure net worth, but you're gonna need time on your side because the longer your time horizon, the more you can put your savings and your investments to work. And that is all thanks to a little thing called compound interest, which is basically interest that pays upon interest that pays upon interest over and over again. Now, this path to wealth is very common with the middle class, aka those without a dramatically high income or a dramatically low income, aka those that are making roughly $40,000 to $70,000 a year. Many who achieve millionaire status through this route never even made over $100,000 a year. And that is why I say that this path to wealth is so accessible to practically anyone. Now, if you're going to achieve millionaire status through this route, there are 3 things you are going to have to do. Number 1, you have to live below your means. Now, this may seem like a fairly obvious point, but if you're spending everything you make, living paycheck to paycheck, maxing out your credit cards, taking on a lot of debt, you are never going to be able to make your money work for you. You will forever be working for your money. If you spend everything you make, you will never be wealthy. Number 2, save at least 20% of your income. Now, yes, of course, you can save a smaller percentage of your income and still be able to retire, say maybe 10%. But it's unlikely that you would retire with a significant degree of wealth, especially if you're simply a middle-class earner. So you have to save at least 20%. You have to save a significant portion of your income in order to reach that millionaire status if you are a middle-class earner. Many will even save more than that because remember, the more you save, the quicker you are going to reach your money goals. And number 3, start early, because the earlier you start, the more successful you're going to be. The earlier you start, the higher your odds of reaching that 7-figure net worth. Because building true wealth takes 2 things. 1, it takes a lot of money, or 2, it takes a lot of time. So if you don't have a lot of money, you better have a lot of time. If you start saving at the age of 20, you would have to save just $190 a month in order to become a millionaire by the time you turn 65. However, if you started at the age of 30, you would need to save $420 a month in order to reach millionaire status at 65. That's probably still doable, but if you delay until you're 40, you'd have to save $1,000 a month in order to reach millionaire status at 65. The longer you delay, the more you're going to have to save. Now, most of these saver investor types really capitalize on retirement accounts, aka tax advantaged accounts, as well as brokerage accounts, traditional tax accounts. In fact, it's only 1.6% of all IRA and 401k balances that are at least 7 figures or higher. When it comes to TSP accounts, which is simply the government employee's version of a 401k, that figure drops to just 1% of accounts. So saving up this much money is still quite an accomplishment. Next up, we have the corporate climbers, and this is certainly an ambitious bunch. They account for 31% of all millionaires out there, and they generally take about 2 decades, so only 20 years or so, to accumulate their first million. But as you know, the ambitious type, they don't stop there. This group as a whole has an average net worth of at least $3.4 million. Now, this group of individuals generally work for large corporations with a lot of growth potential, and they're often really good at networking and interpersonal communications because remember, when it comes to nabbing that promotion, it's often just as much about what you know as well as who you know. And this group is very dedicated to their work. They're often the first ones there in the morning and the last ones to leave at night, clocking in hundreds, if not thousands, of overtime hours in any given year. But after decades of hard work and dozens of promotions, they find themselves in high-level, high-paying executive management positions. Now, often the lifestyle of these millionaires is a bit more lavish. It's often crept up as their pay increases have come along. But being that they're probably making a few $100,000 a year, they can afford that lifestyle. And as long as they're committing just a small portion of their income to savings, they're going to be able to retire with millionaire status. The pay for these executive positions is very good, and often it comes with a lot of bonuses. Sometimes they get bonuses in the shape of tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars in any given year. Many come with stock options or stakes of ownership in the company. So the higher your pay, the easier it is going to be to accumulate wealth and get that millionaire status. The next category is known as the dreamers, and this encompasses all those entrepreneurs out there. And this category makes up 28% of all millionaires. On average, it takes 12 years to reach their millionaire status, but they retire often with several $1 million. But by no means is this an easy route. As you can imagine, this path is riddled with failures and not so successful ventures. It's simply a matter of fact that a lot of business ventures fail. In fact, within the first 2 years of opening up, 20% of all business ventures will fail. If you fast forward that time horizon to 10 years, 65% of business ventures fail. There is no guarantee of success. This category is known to be a risk-accepting bunch. They often have their dreams as their greatest passions, and they make great sacrifices in order to help them become a reality. They often work crazy long hours, sacrifice families. Many describe living on practically nothing for years on end in order to help their dream become a reality. Sacrifice is a common theme for this bunch. But also, it's a very rewarding path. For those who achieve success in this route, many describe it as their most fulfilling thing they've ever accomplished in their lives. This group really epitomizes that statement of do what you love and the money will follow. And finally, we have the virtuosos. Now, these are the smallest subset of those millionaires out there, only counting for 19% of all millionaires. Now, who are these virtuosos? They are simply the best of the best. They've spent years honing their craft, their skill, their knowledge, and now others are willing to pay them a handsome sum because of their expertise. Now, virtuosos can be found in practically any field out there. They could be found in medical, law, corporate, or any miscellaneous field you can imagine. For example, look at a typical chef. The salary of an average chef ranges anywhere from $25,000 to $75,000 a year. However, if you are the best of the best, you can be a chef who makes hundreds of thousands of dollars a year or even $1 million a year. Now, not everyone can be the best. It takes years of dedication and disciplined learning. And for many, being good at their job is simply good enough for them. However, that is not the case for the virtuoso. The virtuoso wants to be great. They pour every ounce of their being into becoming the best at their craft, the best in their industry. And if they succeed in becoming the best, they can be rewarded handsomely with a very high and prestigious income. There are many routes to becoming a millionaire or even a multi-millionaire. All routes are going to require hard work, discipline, and time. Which route is right for you? Well, that's up for you to decide. But keep this in mind. The age of the average millionaire is 62. Only 1% of millionaires are under the age of 35. So if you haven't reached millionaire status yet, keep going. You still have time. Well, that's gonna do it for me today, guys. I post new videos every single week. If you are new here, please hit that subscribe button. If you got anything at all out of this video, I'd really appreciate if you could give it a like. And also, if you know of anyone who could get anything out of this type of content, please consider sharing, as it really does help the channel. I hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye.